All right, y'all. Every night I got to deal with this human right here. Every night I got to deal with his shenanigans. But anyway,
Always good.
we gonna roll with. He's always good. Okay, he has the glasses off. All right, so we just gonna roll with it right now. How are y'all doing this evening? I hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday. We are halfway through the week of. Is this week 6 now?
Week 6.
Wow, 6 weeks. Like I remember in school, like you got your report card every 6 weeks. Like we got a whole grading period going on here. So that's pretty awesome. We're excited to be here tonight as always. I see that Shania is here. How you doing, sweetie? So glad to see you. Oh, yes, yes, Shania. We love when she is in the building. But we have an interesting show for you all tonight, an exciting show, of course, filled with the things that you guys are coming here for, the culturally affirming literature, wonderful readers who care about literacy, who care about our youth and our community. And we have a special guest. And we have some special things to talk about, announcements that we are excited to share, that we are sharing here first exclusively before we make any public announcements or anything, because this is our virtual village family. And you guys are the first to hear about anything that's going on because you're family. We tell family first, right? Before we put anything out anywhere else. And if you guys don't know, anybody tuning in, I am Starr Armstrong, the founder of Clever Communities in Action, a nonprofit organization based in Norfolk, Virginia. And we focus on literacy and positive representation through literature 365 days a year as we are promoting literacy in the African American community. So we're making sure that our children have books that they can read where they see themselves positively represented, so that they can be excited about reading, so that they can flip through those pages and see children who look like themselves, see families that look like their own, and learn about their history and culture, which pulls them in to be more engaged in the reading process, and which also shows them that they have an important place in the society and the world in which they live. Rodney Jordan.
Yes.
How are you doing today? I don't know what is going to come out of his mouth, but
I'm doing just fine. I'm glad that we are back, and we had a good time yesterday. We're gonna have a good time tonight, and the village is ready and awake and woke, and I think we have some good news to share, and it really just fits into me with a lot of the conversation that we've been having, not just amongst ourselves, but with various authors who have come up here and talked about how they've had a vision and how they turned it into a book, how they've drawn it out, how they laid it out, how they went about producing it. So we get an opportunity to talk about some productions and some visioning and some architecture of our own moving forward. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it goes a lot with your sermon that you ended us with yesterday.
Yeah, just on occasion.
Reverend Rodney, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, sometimes.
Well, so like I said, we have a special guest this evening who is actually here. It's his birthday, which is pretty cool that he's going to come and hang out with us and read and also share this announcement on his birthday. We are excited to have him here, a person who does a lot of great things for the community, is impactful towards so many, and a bearer of good news, coming also to bring with books that talk about some lessons that are important and things that are near and dear to his heart that he wants to share. So without further ado, we are going to bring on Mr. Mark Johnson, who is the Vice President of Community Development with Truist Bank. So let's bring him on.
Hey, Rodney,
hey, Mark.
how are you doing?
What's
good,
happening, Mark?
good. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I'm 17 today. I'm not leaving.
I thought you were 16. Okay, yes.
I was gonna say, y'all know how it goes. Every year is a good year. You're alive, especially with COVID-19. But every year I tell myself I'm younger than before. So what they say, 50 is the new 20.
Okay. I accept that.
Is this your 50th birthday?
No, I just turned 52 today.
Okay, okay. Awesome. Well, happy birthday to you. What is this sign we're in right now?
You said, what is this
Oh,
time?
you talking
Sign.
about zodiac sign?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh, Taurus.
Taurus. Oh, okay. Are you stubborn?
My daughter says yes.
Okay. That's all I
I
know about Taurus.
I don't know
You
if
know,
I would count it as stubborn. But they do say Tauruses are stubborn. So yes, I can be
the
stubborn in
bull.
a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
the bull-headed ones. That's what they say. I don't know if it's true or not. I just know my sign. But Shania, one of our young readers, a 10-year-old phenomenal powerhouse of a reader, she is wishing you a happy birthday. And she
I
said
see that.
hello. Yes,
Yep.
yes. And how are you doing, Chandra? Portia says hello. So the village is wishing you lots of love. Yes, yes. So Mark, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do, and then we'll dive into this nice announcement that we have here.
Well, great. You know, we talked a little bit about where I'm from Long Island, New York. Went to college at Canisius College in Buffalo. Started my, I came to Hampton Roads back in 2001. I was, as they say, a product of the United Way system. That's how I met Rodney and a number of community folk when I came here as Vice President of Community Funding for United Way of Southampton Roads back in 2001. So I spent about 17 years in the United Way system, um, 2 stints in the community local level at local United Ways with United Way Buffalo Erie County, and then United Way of Southampton Roads here. And then I had a 2-year stint with the United Way of America, which is now United Way Worldwide. So back in 2011, got an opportunity to come on board with Heritage SunTrust Bank, which is now Truist Bank, as their vice president and community development manager at Hampton Roads. And now with Truist, my responsibilities have expanded to Richmond and Charlottesville. In my position, there are a number of us, community development managers, CRA officers. Rodney probably know this, CRA, Community Reinvestment Act of 1977, which was a mandate for financial institutions to provide credit and resource opportunities to all communities, but specifically low to moderate income communities, especially in the area of loans, investments, grants, and services. And so I spend probably a good amount of my time creating partnership opportunities, organizations like yourself, Access College Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, communities and schools, you name it, kind of strategically deploying our teammates, working at a bank from top to bottom, whether you're a teller, whether you're a mortgage, whether you're in commercial banking, etc., retail, you have a certain level of financial expertise that you garner over a period of time. And so as a part of our regulatory requirement and working with an organization who has mission,
Did you lock up?
Oh, it's not me.
Oh, I guess we lost
I'm,
it for a second.
I'm usually the Teddy Riley
Yeah.
of with the internet.
our particular, bringing our particular skill sets to light in the community. And so part of that is really making sure we're working with low to moderate income communities. And so from small business space of providing capacity building with my teammates in that particular space to working with nonprofit organizations from a leadership perspective, sitting on boards. These are all the kind of great things we're doing to help build capacity in all communities, but specifically low to moderate income communities.
Excellent.
So I have a fun job. There's never a dull day, and I can never tell anybody I don't have anything to do. There are always things to do. I mean, again, I'm just, and I can say this, live on TV. I'm just so proud of Rodney. I've seen, Rodney talks the talk and walks the walk, and so just kind of being in that circle, just kind of, it continues to inspire you, and just, it gets you to understand that we have more than jobs. we're blessed to be exposed and connected to the resources and people and systems that we are. And so it's important for us because we stand on the shoulders of many people to bring that level of resource to the table.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
Hey, I can't hear.
Mark and I talked about how we've gone back, but there are conversations that take place offline about how do we make sure that we leverage opportunities for others. How do we make sure if we get in certain positions that we can make sure that programs that are supposed to provide a return on investment to the targeted community actually happens and gets done. And like Mark said, everywhere he's been since I've known him, he's worked to deliver on that. And he and some others that we have some frank conversations around how do we try to open up doors and make sure that these opportunities that we receive or the exposure that we have, that we can make sure that that our community benefits. To just be it, being frank about it. So I'm appreciative of what Mark has been doing throughout the community. And for me, when Starr and I, when we started doing this, let's get covered virtual read-in, and then you mentioned to me that you were doing some things with Mark, that my immediate response was, whatever it is that I can do, I know Mark's got your best interest in mind, and it's got a good soul and a good heart. So I'm sure something good is going to come out of it.
So you guys who are tuning in, I just said I'm the Teddy Riley of the night because I have internet problems, and he's the baby face because he's setting this up a lot. See what you did there, Rodney. So yes, definitely Mark is, as you said, being in the positions in our community where you're able to bring the right the organizations, the people who are doing the work to the table, and I think that has you want to talk about how you've done that with Clever Communities, what's going on with us and you, and tell everybody about that.
Well, COVID-19 has changed all of our lives. I mean, I guess for good, the new normal, so to speak. And so as a part of that, it has impacted small businesses, impacted everybody's life. Is now changed, I think, forever. And I'm hoping that we come back strong, but we also understand that it's going to take some time to kind of transition back. But with that being said, there were a number of organizations that wanted to step up to the plate and understood that they definitely had a role in helping us fill the gap because of the impact from COVID-19, the coronavirus. And as a part of that, what Truist wanted to do, in connection with its mission to build and inspire and build communities, was to provide a $25 million grant opportunity through their Truist Cares throughout their footprint, but made it kind of nationwide. So about a month and a half ago, it kind of went nationwide. And as a part of that opportunity, drum roll, Clever Communities put in a proposal, and it will be a recipient of a major grant from Truist. So I'm really excited. Let me tell you, there were a number of proposals, and this isn't just something in Virginia. This thing was nationwide. It was through all of our footprint. So it hit a number of states. We had a number of pillars that we asked each organization to kind of connect with. And so your pillar, I think, was around connecting. So we know in a day and time like this that it's a challenge in some communities having access to technology. Rodney, I know for a long period of time, you have been out in the forefront and really pushing and talking about broadband, access to Wi-Fi, access to technology, this whole concept around the digital divide in a lot of our communities, especially communities of color, and how do we bring resources, work with organizations around fiber optics, getting some hardware into our homes. And little did we know that now that you have schools that are not out because of the coronavirus and social distancing, and kids are at home, everybody technically is operating out of that house, so to speak. And so it can be a challenge for those who don't have access to technology. So I thank you very much for submitting that grant, because we know it's going to help continue what you're doing around engaging parents around literacy, reading, helping to build proficiency with young people. Hey, listen, it's a challenge. We know it's a challenge. Rodney been working with the school system on the school board for ages. It's a challenge with the current, I would say, people that we have in the school system. Some are the majority of schools are understaffed, and it's a challenge with even teaching kids now and spending the time trying to get them up to speed. We know that the data says if they set the number of prison beds, if kids aren't reading at a certain age by third grade. And so with that being said, now it's kind of linked to technology, helping them with SOLs, etc. So it's the wave of the future. And I'm just glad that we're able to help Clever Communities continue its mission of engaging parents and hopefully connecting and expanding on what you're doing around the use of technology. And I like the piece that was in there where you're going to be bringing young people in to help build platforms, to better use some of the technology now that you're going to provide them with. So, I've always said, you're a best kept secret. So now you're not a secret anymore. But what you're going to be working with Region and Intercom around the 2020 Salute the Seniors. Now you're all over the place. Wavy just did something on you, Starr. You did an amazing job yesterday. And I'm so glad that Anita Blanton really set you up. But I know you had to do 500 takes, but it finally worked. And so you did a great job, and I got a lot of good feedback. So you're not a secret anymore. So when you're not a secret, the expectation is you're going next level. So with Rodney on your side, he's not going to let you be average. So that's a good thing.
Go ahead, Mr.
No, I was gonna say, no, you go right ahead. No, this is your moment.
Well, we again, thank you. We're very excited about this because it means a lot as to what we're able to do to serve the community. As you said, it was great that Truist put out the COVID-19 grants, and actually Rodney and I, I contacted Rodney right when they were talking about the shutdowns, and I think I asked him like 8 questions. It was entirely
18.
It was entirely too soon for him to be able to answer all those questions, because I was kind of not really engaged into the COVID-19 until they said schools were shutting down. And I'm texting Rodney, well, how are the babies going to eat? And this, that. Now I'm asking him like all of these questions. And so then he's like, well, what if we did a virtual reading platform? Because Rodney is familiar with what Clever Communities in Action has been doing. And he's been there for several of our book deliveries when we donate the 100 books to the Title I elementary school libraries. He's been there, supporting that in multiple locations. And we were already interviewing African-American children's book authors and having live conversations around literacy. So I'm like, boom, that's perfect. Let's just make that happen. I'm already doing something like that. So I got up here, got Rodney trained on this, and we had a fun time, going through this platform, and it just has grown. It was something since the first day of the school shutdowns. We've been here, and wonderful, wonderful people have tuned in, and it's just grown into something that is bigger than Rodney or myself. It's a community effort. Mm-hmm. And now with this Truist grant, as you mentioned, we'll be debuting in the coming week or two the Virtual Village 2020. We're doing some rebranding. We went from a virtual read-in to the Virtual Village 2020, which encompasses so many wonderful things. We have some partnerships, as you mentioned, with Intercom, where we're doing the Salute to Seniors, which during this time, making sure that our seniors who are not able to walk across the stage or do the traditional things that seniors do, that they can get some shine. They can go to one of the 4 Intercom stations and family members can submit pictures and put some kind words up there and give their seniors some shine. We have that going on. We are expanding our reach. We'll be streaming on some other platforms with some other partners that just makes our villages going to grow. More people are going to be able to partake of what we all as a village are providing, because I think the energy here, the vibe here, the message here, the information here is infectious, and it's stuff that so many people need to benefit from. And then also the program expansion includes bringing on our interns that we are bringing, our high school interns who our applicant pool has just been giving me life. These young people sending in these resumes, and I'm like, you're in what? You're in the 10th grade, the 11th grade? You're doing what? Oh my gosh, they're so phenomenal, and we are so excited about bringing them on. So you guys will begin to see some new faces up here, and they'll be doing some things behind the scenes as well, because it's a well-oiled machine to do the things that we're just doing right now, let alone the program expansion, where we're going to have other topics coming up here, different things that we're going to talk about. The readings are going to stay, so don't y'all worry about that. The African American children's books readings are not going away, but we're going to offer some other content information as well that I think will be exciting, engaging, and informative. So yeah, that's what Virtual Village 2020, fam, for the literacy gang. That's our rebranding. That's what we are. We are the Virtual Village 2020. So that's our gang, Mark. I don't think you knew, but we are a literacy gang. So now you are official. Once you read your book, you will be officially initiated into our literacy gang. So that's us, y'all. This is a win for us because, like I said, this is it is about everybody. Like, everybody who tunes in every night are the ones who make this happen, and we're just expanding it now thanks to Truist, to have more reach and to do more phenomenal things.
That I was going to say that, and that's wonderful. When we have to enlarge that tent from a literacy gang standpoint, I think there are opportunities to bring more people on in every walk, those that meet your particular guidelines and standards and what have you. But I think you're doing a great thing, and you're really inspiring people to have conversations and take time with their kids. Isn't that interesting? You do not have a I'm not going to say you don't have a choice, but there's no excuse now being home with your child and not spending time and having what I call very inquisitive, insightful, and game-changing conversations. And that's what I think you're doing with your platform. You're basically encouraging people and invoking people to talk, to have a conversation, and spend some time with children. If you look, and I don't have the data in front of me, but if you look at groups from other ethnic groups, even around the world, the amount of time that people spend with their children and reading is phenomenal. Just reading. If I'm not mistaken, and you correct me, Rodney, if I'm wrong, they're teaching young people in China at the age of 3 robotics. Utilizing technology, which is becoming so. We have to change the conversation that we're having, because life is not stopping. Life is going full-fledged. Who would have ever thought at the turn of the year we'd be working from home? We'd be wearing masks over our face. Now, I know if we go back a year or two, you turn on your TV and you be watching when they showed clips of China, and you look at the smoke, you look at people walking with masks, and you be like, man, what's going on over there? Now we walking around with masks. We wearing masks in our house. You can't even have anybody come to your house. And so it's really causing us to look at how we spend our time and managing our time. And the world has changed 15 times over in the last month. And if it's anything that people get from me reading tonight, or us just talking right now with your children, there's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And, in that book, it really talks about, how things change and change management, and you having, we live in a world and work in a world now that you have to be I guess it's ambidextrous. How do you have to manage kind of 900 things at one time. Those people who work left-handed and right-handed. And I said all that to say that's the world we live in now. So how do we have conversations with our kids to teach them about not only who they are and whose they are, but how do we get them to understand now the world that you live in will demand a little bit more of you than it demanded of us in terms of the time that we had. So that's the passion that now we have to turn into kind of a purposeful intent to make sure they're prepared for the new normals in life.
Well, Mark, I appreciate you saying that. I also want to just salute you because um, in your uh, in your role in supporting and providing this opportunity to Starr and Clever Communities in Action, um, you allowed for a proposal to be submitted that stayed true to the core and soul of what CCIA and Starr are all about. Sometimes you go through a funding mechanism and folks want to try to change and modify and sometimes take the soul and spirit out of something that is deeply rooted in the community. And I just want to salute you for allowing that soul and that spirit and the consciousness and the unapologetic support for African American literature and authors and readers and community to come through. And so I want to salute you for shepherding that and allowing that to happen. And the other thing I just want to say in terms of your comments about children and parents and families, I think sometimes we underestimate and undervalue the networks that we have. And so we may look at what's happening in China, we may look at what's happening in Europe or Germany and some other place, and sometimes view ourselves from a deficit thinking. But what Clever Communities in Action and what the Literacy Gang is about is building upon the strength and assets that exist in our community. And what this virtual village allows is for all these different individuals who have come on over the last 5.5 weeks and have brought their talents and have brought their gifts and are networking with one another. And right now they're networking with you. And so there are members of the Literacy Gang right now who may not have known you. They know you now, and they know Starr, and they have come to know me. And so we are still building that network. We do it a little differently than maybe some others do, but we have to always recognize that strength that we have and build out the success. And even as we talk about our public schools, we have a tendency sometimes to speak to the negative, but it's a lot of brilliant children, brilliant teachers, brilliant principals, brilliant support staff who right now in the midst of this pandemic, dealing where you target low and moderate income communities, have so much talent and skills. You don't see these families and these individuals and these students cracking up, breaking up, trying to figure out, woe is me. That spirit, that creativity, that resilience. Since everybody's talking about resiliency, nobody is more resilient than the African American community in the United States of America. And what you are allowing to do is for that resiliency to connect with some resources and to connect with an organization that has soul. And from that, we're going to make sure that our young people get exposure, that more folks get exposure to this great literacy gang and the authors and all the work that Clever Communities in Action is bringing about. So we're going to speak to this as a win and as a strength and as another spiritual movement in terms of what we are offering as a community, not only to the 757, but to the world. So
man, I thought that the one word that I'm, and I tell people I'm a constant learner, I'm a sponge. I don't care who you are, if you can be young, old, what have you, I'm always kind of yearning and seeking knowledge. That whole resilient piece, Rodney and Starr, if we can drive that home, forget young people, just in our people, resilient, being resilient and understanding nobody's gonna give you anything. And sometimes it's not even good for somebody to give you something because it builds in you the fact that you think people are always gonna be like that all the time. And I can say to you, even for my professional journey, it's kind of, I can use a scripture, and I think the scripture was, I think Paul said, it was good as I've been afflicted. If I had not been afflicted, I would never have seen the goodness of the Lord on earth. And so I thought of that scripture and I said, when we think about afflictions, afflictions back then were, come on, some people were kind of crucified upside down. Some people's heads got cut off, what have you. But when I think about afflictions, I think about things that are setbacks, but set you up for a comeback. Things that may not be for your best interest at the current time, but allow you to kind of reflect and come back and develop, as Rodney said, that resiliency. So when it is your time, you'll understand why you weren't successful at a certain time in your walk, that it allowed you to kind of have much more introspective about the situation and the circumstance. So when he does give you those opportunities, you don't take it for granted. And I think it's important to teach our kids that no matter what degree you get, no matter what skill you have, you're going to have some challenges, but the challenges and the pushback is really what makes you strong. It really what qualifies you when you finally come into where you're supposed to be and what your purpose is. And so what it does is it really reinforces the journey that you took and the work that you put in to get to where you're at. And whether you get your degree from one place or another, where you get your skill set from one set or another. I've always said, and I think Magic Johnson said this, he said, you can be more talented than me. He said, but you ain't gonna outwork. And it's important that we teach our kids the importance of work ethic. Don't let nobody outwork you. I'm not saying it's gonna be like that always, but know how to put your hard hat on in anything that you do and do it well and feel comfortable in it. And even if you don't get recognized, the bottom line to tell a lot of people is, people may like you, but you still gotta bring something to the table. You still gotta know how to do something. And so if you focus on that, but you have, as Starr, you said, your whole purpose in terms of who you are within this village of people that you have, you'll only be more refined the more that the more that you learn, the more degrees that you get, the more learned that you become. But that whole foundation around resiliency, Rodney, man, that is, and it takes you going through some things to get to a certain point in your life to kind of look back and say, that was the defining moment. That was I guess, as you can say, the linchpin, so to speak, that allowed you to kind of understand who you were as a person and a professional. So you can then be in a place where you understand there's more power in opening doors for a clever community and other people and other organization than there is just sitting in the boardroom.
Amen. Exactly. And to that, as you were saying about Mark Rodney, being a nonprofit founder, executive director, when you talk about keeping the integrity of the mission, Rodney, we had a young man to come up here one time. He's an author, a phenomenal author, and we're going to have him to come back and talk about his journey and some of those challenges. But what did he say? That he wanted to be universal because he writes African-American children's books. And he loves writing African-American children's books, but as a result of that, trying to push shop his work around, he got a lot of no's, which, made him feel like he was in a confined space. So we talk about how when it comes to our work, our community, although it affects the world in so many ways, in so many great ways, it gets relegated to being urban, or it gets relegated to being threatening, or, like you were saying, Rodney, you need to change that message up, or you need to soften that, or why does it have to be focused on this? And so when people are in positions, and we got Vivian watching too, just some phenomenal people in our community, such as yourself, where when you have that position, that ability to make sure that the integrity of our organizations do remain, that the mission is able to remain intact and not have to be compromised. And from someone in this perspective, that's very important to me, because there are things sometimes you don't accept, because it's like, well, that's a good amount of money that could help, with what we're doing, but the mission has to stay intact. So having people like yourself is definitely wonderful. And what this village does is just bring to light all of the people, the wonderful people in the community who are doing the work. And then, like Rodney, you said the resiliency. This village has highlighted too some phenomenal parenting that is going down. Oh my goodness. From, moms and dads, moms to daughter, mom to son, fathers and daughters, fathers and sons, grandparents with their grandchildren, like during this time and before, people in our community who are just, you're like, wow, just doing excellent things. And having this spot to be able to convene where people can be an inspiration to one another, where they can provide information or help or comfort or solace to one another, and also provide these educational gems. It's like when I hear my folks talking about back in the day when they were in school, before the schools were integrated, and those conversations. They say one of the most valuable things I heard my uncle, who just turned 70, say was, we were able to have those conversations that we couldn't have, and there was an invested interest in us then that was not there once we left those schools. So we're that's what we're doing here, because there are some special circumstances that our community has undergone, and there are some special conversations that need to be had as a result of that. And then at the same time, like Rodney reminds everybody needs this African American literature. Everybody needs it, and everybody can benefit from that, because it's wonderful works, it's wonderful literature, and the other messages that we're bringing thus far are going to be just, I'm excited. And I'm excited for all of us, because again, this is our virtual village 2020. Like, everybody tuned in. This news is your news. So it's great. So with all of that said, Mark, are you reading for us tonight?
Absolutely. So tonight I have, and I was sharing with you earlier, a book out of our Shine Bright kids series called Must Have Marvin. And basically, Marvin's a little kid who wants anything and everything, and he doesn't know the difference between goal setting, wants versus needs, and he stops at nothing to try to get anything and everything he can, in spite of the fact that his friends love him and want him to participate, but all he can think about is buying stuff. So here we go.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. We're going to step off. Rodney and I are going to step away, and we're going to let you have the full screen, okay?
Excellent. Okay.
All right.
Excellent. So good evening, Village. Again, my book is Must Have Marvin. And it starts off, you can have a lot of stuff, but it will never be enough. Instead, make a lot of friends and you'll be happy in the end. And so going back, Marvin jumped out of bed. And put on his brand new dinosaur t-shirt. The instant he's seen it at the store, he yelled, "I have to have it." He couldn't wait to show the kids at school. Marvin loved new things. He liked learning new things and making new things and playing new games. But most of all, he liked getting the latest, greatest, coolest new stuff. Sorry about that, going back in and out. Marvin was excited as he walked to class until he spotted Oscar wearing the same t-shirt. And Oscar had matching glow-in-the-dark shoes. Marvin just had one thought: I have to have those shoes. Later, his classmates were planning their corner of the school vegetable patch. They called Marvin, "Come help." But Marvin sat on the bench all alone, dreaming about those shoes. On Wednesday, they were learning about different instruments in music class. Marvin heard one of the blasts of the trumpet and declared, "I have to have one." While practicing for a parent's night concert, Marvin was so busy pretending to announce the arrival of the king and queen, he bumped into Wanda. This started a chain reaction that did not end well. At recess, Marvin saw something he really wanted. It was a super galactic robot, the coolest, most awesomest toy ever. Marvin shouted, "I have to have one." It was all Marvin could think about. That afternoon, he was so busy dreaming about the robot he wanted that he didn't help Willie with their science experiment. It was a two-person job. The next day, Marvin was talking about the robot in soccer practice. "I have to have one," he said again and again. Coach suggested that he take a timeout since his head wasn't really in the game. The team was collecting box tops for a special trip. Willow asked Marvin, "Will you help me count the tops?" "Sorry," Marvin replied as he rushed off the field. "There's something I have to do." As he passed Mrs. Bailey's house, she called out, "Marvin, dear, would you help me get this recycling together?" "Sorry, Miss B," Marvin called back. "There is something I have to do." At home, his brother Sammy wanted to practice throwing. "Sorry," Marvin yelled. "There is something I have to do." Marvin found the catalog with the super galactic robot on the cover. He counted all the money in his piggy bank and including his secret reserves. He just had enough. Marvin put on his best smile and proudly held up the catalog. "What's that?" his mother asked. "It's a super galactic robot," Marvin exclaimed. "It's the coolest, most awesomest toy ever. And I have to have one. I just have to." Now Marvin asked his father, "Are you sure you will be spending all your money?" "Yes, Dad," said Marvin. "I have to have it." "All right," his father said. We can go after dinner when your homework is done." Marvin was so excited, he searched the shelves until he found it, the exact robot he dreamed of. He had it out of the box before they even left the store. He turned it on and heard the robot say, "Hello, I am a robot. I am at your service. Let's play." That night, Marvin imagined all the fun he was going to have with his very own super galactic robot. After school, Friday, Marvin wanted to show the robot spinning tricks to Sammy. "Sorry," said Sammy, "Oliver is helping me with my throwing." Marvin went to see if Willow wanted to play. She would be impressed with the laser eyes. "Sorry, Marvin," Willow said. "I have to finish counting the box tops for our team." He went to Oscar's house next, but Oscar had gone to the movies with Wanda. Marvin wished the robot would say something to cheer him up. All it said was, "Hello, I am a robot. I am at your service. Let's play." Marvin missed his friends. He started home alone. As he passed Miss Bailey's house, she asked, "Marvin, what's wrong?" Marvin replied, "I wanted this robot more than anything, but now that I have it, I don't even feel happy. I feel just lonely." "Marvin," Miss Bailey explained, "things won't make you happy. Only people can. If you spend more time helping your friends and less time thinking about new stuff, you'll be a lot happier. By the way, does your team have a soccer game tomorrow?" "Oh no!" Marvin had forgotten about the game and the team project. He had been so busy thinking about that new toy that he hadn't collected a single box top. Marvin had let his friends down. Miss Bailey had an idea. "Marvin," she said, "do you have time to help me with recycling now?" "I guess so," Marvin said. He got to go to work. As he folded the empty boxes and stacked them, he noticed that some of the boxes had the tops that the soccer team needed for the trip. He counted 10. Miss B yelled, "Can I keep these box tops?" "Of course," she said with a knowing smile. "Thanks so much, Mrs. B," as he shouted as he ran home. He woke up Saturday morning. Marvin reached for a super galactic robot, but then he stopped. He could hear Mrs. Bailey's advice in his head. He flashed the laser eyes on and off and then placed the robot on the shelf. He picked up his baseball glove and headed downstairs. Marvin threw the ball with Sammy until Sammy was ready for his afternoon game. Marvin had forgotten how much fun playing catch was. As he dressed for the soccer game, Marvin thought about bringing his robot along. Instead, he grabbed the orange soccer ball that was Oscar's favorite for warming up. At the field, Willow and Coach were sharing the results of the team. Thanks for all your hard work, said Willow, but I'm afraid that we still need box tops. Everyone was disappointed. Wait, Marvin yelled as he ran up to the group. Mrs. B had 10 more box tops. Now we can all go on the trip, said Willow. Hooray, everyone cheered. It was the best day ever. As they left the field, Willow asked Marvin, what new stuff do you have for our trip? Marvin grinned, the only things I really have are my friends. The end. So the moral to the story is you can get so focused on wanting to buy things and exacerbating or giving up all of the hard-earned resources or money that you have saved for important things just to get something that you think is going to make you happy and find out that it basically doesn't do what you want it to do or make you happy at all. And the most important things in life are the people who care about us and the friends that we have and the time that we spend together. And so it's a little bit about the importance of relationships and the really taking time with the people who are in your life and giving them your attention, and also about waiting on those things that really are important and mean some things and mean a lot of valuable things in your life, and really saving your finances to purchase things that not only bring joy to you, but can bring joy to other people. So that's it for Must Have Marvin.
All right.
That was excellent. Great story there. Great moral to the story. And I really love your robot voice.
So you like my robot voice? did I sound like Teddy Pendergrass?
No.
Or Barry White?
That was great, though. That was a really good moral there. Yeah, I enjoy having you as a reader, Mark. That was
absolutely. And I definitely want to come on again. And I'm talking to some staff, and I might be able to get a number of books for either, I think from a electronic standpoint, I might be able to send it to you and Rodney so you can send it to some of your families. And or they may send me some more hard copies for you to send out to families. And I'm also going to include Must Have Marvin, super amazing money fun book. If you can see that. And this has a lot of games about money, crossword puzzles, and what have you. It's a great book that even parents can work with their children on about the importance of money and terminology. And this is a new one. I think I'm going to try to get this for you, and you can give this out to some of your Starr pupils. This is Cleo Edison Oliver, the Playground Millionaire. It's his sister who learns the importance of being a millionaire on the playground. So it's a great book. I got this from Read to Them, which is a nonprofit out of Richmond. And so we provided this to a couple of Title I schools in Richmond and Norfolk. So I'm going to try to get you as many as possible. You can give this out. Yeah. This is great for building those entrepreneurial skills. And I see somebody that said they have that book.
Oh, who has?
Excellent.
Oh, of course. Shania, we're not surprised. You got to know Shania, okay? You got to get Shania.
So anything that I can do to help educate and pass on wisdom, I will do. I will work on it and get back to you.
Yeah, we also, Mark, I got an idea for you as well. So, you know, Starr has this collective community in action. I'll say library or a list of books that she has. And maybe something else that can evolve from this is as she is finding more or from her existing cadre of books and authors to look for those books that focus on financial literacy and wealth building and entrepreneurship. And then maybe you and some of your colleagues can help share some of those books around and get those books out into Title I schools that have those authors and are part of that CCIA framework.
Because we have some. We have some.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. We can put some Marcus Garvey. We can put some Booker T. We can put some Madam C.J. Walker. We can put a lot of folks who are involved in business and finance. Get an Earl Gray's book.
Oh, absolutely.
And keep that legacy and that piece and that mission going.
And 2 points too. And I mentioned earlier about our teammates, which we have a number of teammates that bring that are so skilled and they bring so many skill sets to the table that they would definitely be honored to kind of be on here to read, to do a financial education session. And we're talking now about, with the social distancing, how do we do virtual service with some of our community partners. So keep that in mind as well. If you're trying to do virtual servicing, financial education segments, etc., we may be able to help you out as well. And I can get a cadre of teammates to come on and kind of do some series. So I think that would be good. But you just let me know. We're flexible. And I think we can kind of do, check a lot of marks off of our goal from a CRA standpoint and a financial education standpoint in working with you.
Mm.
Excellent. Sounds like a win to me. Well, I'll be calling on you.
Excellent. No problem.
Bring y'all into this virtual village. And so now, I have to say it. So you are officially a part of our literacy gang. Okay. So this gang is built on the foundation of literacy, culture, community, and love. So you are in this gang. You cannot get out of this gang. So you're going to get all of those elements. Okay. You are welcome to come back here anytime, although I will be calling on you. But anytime you want to come, you're in the game.
I'm going to be there, and I'm going to tell a lot of other of my colleagues and family to join you. And those who have young people, they need to sign in and join your virtual village.
All right.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate that. And thank you so much for all that you do for the community, all that you have done for Clever Communities in Action and the Virtual Village 2020.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right.
You're welcome. And you enjoy the rest of your birthday, okay?
I will do that.
All right. Good night, Mark.
All right.
That was great. That was great. Yes. Mark is excellent. And like I said, I enjoyed the story and his dinosaur voice and the dialogue. So many great jewels between him and you in that conversation. And like I said, we've created an environment, and by we, I mean all of us, where these conversations that we know need to be had, where we are here, just around the things that are important and affirming to our community is great. We are super excited about the fact that we're going to be able to expand this. And, as we roll these things out to you guys, look out for a new graphic disc, a branding of the virtual village, that's going to drop. So when we drop that, you guys share that, because that's our sign, that's our symbol. These interns, when they come, oh my goodness, there is no doubt that within our community, we have to be aware of the things systemically that have happened that created a lot of the challenges that we are experiencing. And we have to know those challenges, be mindful of those challenges, and work to, overcome those hurdles and dismantle those hurdles. But at the same time, in the midst of that, we have, young people and parents who are doing wonderful things, sometimes under, the most trying of circumstances sometimes. And there are still so many of our young people. The news sometimes likes to show, and this could be, national news, social media, whatever, things like to show the negativity, but just a reminder of looking at our village and the people who are in the comment section, the people who are coming on here, and as well as, the young people we've been corresponding with for the internship. They are awesome. they are phenomenal. And that's not the thing that you see all the time, getting all the shares or, getting all the shine. But I just want to remind, we be diligent and we're mindful of the terrain and the circumstances that our community has been exposed to and forced under. But nonetheless, within that, let's also not forget that we have some wonderful, wonderful diamonds out here. Shania is one of them. Shania is one of our diamonds. She's one of our queens. And these teenagers, when y'all get to see them, when we debut, these youngins, when they come up here, ooh, you think you've been feeling great now when you tune in? Oh man, get ready to get your spirits lifted. I mean, just lifted all the way up. What did I say the other night, Shania? I was on the 8, and then she came and I was on the 12, and by the time she finished, I was on the 20. So y'all get ready to be up all the time, even more, okay? But Rodney, did you have anything to say before we go to our next?
No, I think you said it all well, and we have a reader that's willing to come up and ready to go, and I think we need to bring our next reader up and cap off this great night.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this young lady, on my Conveying Culture page, I have interviewed her before, and I call her a superwoman because she wears so many different hats. She does a lot of wonderful things. When I first met her at a Black-owned business here in Norfolk, Virginia, Conscious Planet, we were both there to grub to get some good vegan food. And we got into a conversation, and she told me that she does environmental justice work. And out of all the wonderful things that she does, that really stuck out to me. And I'm like, let's talk about that more. And I did have the opportunity to interview her and talk about that some. And you can go to Conveying Culture and find that interview there. But we're gonna talk about it. I'll be interviewing her more so we can dig into that. But she's also an opera singer. She plays the violin. She does, I believe, accounting. So she's all around the spectrum, the right brain, the left brain. She's a wife. She's a mother. She is supportive. She's supportive to other Black women and to the community. So just a wonderful, wonderful sister. One of these ones with all the commas behind her name when you're saying she does this, comma, this, comma, this, comma, this. So I am excited to have our sister up here, Javon Bowers Ramon.
Javon Bowens Raymond. But we're gonna get it one day.
Right. Look,
all right, we're gonna get it one day.
You gotta understand.
It's all love, so I don't take it personal. You won't believe how many people add letters to my name, take letters away, but we're gonna get it.
The thing is, we love you, and my nickname for you is Superwoman. So
well, thank you. It takes one to know one, so
I appreciate that. A lot about you. I appreciate that. But say it again. Say your name again, so everybody can have the name correct.
Javon Bowens Raymond.
Boom! There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us a little bit. I know I did a little bit, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, right now, a lot of my time the bulk of my time is going into motherhood. My daughter will be 1 on Tuesday. So lately I have been planning a Zoom birthday party for her because we're going to, adhere to the social distancing and everything. But I started my own business. So I offer business formation for anyone who's starting their business. And I also do accounting work. Also, lately, I've been doing taxes because this is tax season. So anyone who needs their taxes done, I am available. I am here for you. If you want to start a business, I am here for you. So just reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, Savant Bookkeeping and Tax Service. I have a website. GoDaddy should have it back up by tomorrow. I don't know what's going on there, but they're a little understaffed. But Savant Bookkeeping and Tax Service. Look, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. So, and my phone number is on there. You can call, schedule an appointment. So there's my spiel, my little commercial.
Excellent. And you did a great job. So, and what we'll ask you to do when you finish is to drop that in the comment section.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so they can reference that, come back to that, and make sure they have your information. So what are you reading for us tonight?
Well, today I'm going to be reading a book called Silent Lunch. I chose this book because it's by an author who was a friend of my late father, who's also a minister and a volunteer tutor at the church where I grew up. So I just wanted to, give back since he and his wife both poured into us as youth so much. I wanted to just support this children's book that he wrote. And this is not his only book, but you could find out some more information about the author. He's still a minister, and he still volunteers and does a lot in the community as well. And he's a teacher at Elephants Fork Middle in Suffolk. And his
Okay.
wife is also an educator as well. So very strong couple. They have a publishing company also. So you can find out more information. This book is available on Amazon. It's a little lengthy, so if we get a little too long, then you could just flash the red light. But if I can keep going, then I will keep going. This is a picture of the author on the back. I don't know if there's a glare or something, so I don't know if you can see. But it's by Maurice L. Huff. So
Excellent. And you can drop that information
yes,
in
I
the
will.
comment section as well. So are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. And
Okay.
also, this book was written in honor of one of his model students, Kahir Robinson.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we are going to step away and let you do your thing. And if it seems like you're getting a little tired, then we'll let you know if we want you to come back and do a part two. Because sometimes you got to keep the people waiting. Be like,
Oh yeah, and then they can go on Amazon if they like suspense, and I can just cut us off at a certain point, and then you can log in to read the rest. Or maybe it's on Hoopla. I have to look into that, or at the library. I'll see. So
excellent.
I'll go ahead and start. Well,
All
first
right.
I'll just read the synopsis. On the back it says, most students wish to never spend a minute in silent lunch. Nothing could be further from the truth for Craig, who is renamed in the book for his privacy. He dreams of spending at least one glorious day at silent lunch table. Then he could finally say that his awesome elementary school experience was complete. However, there was one problem. The school year was quickly coming to an end. So after much thought and a few final words of encouragement from Pup, it was time to make his dream come true. It was now or never. Chapter 1. What time is it? My mother called it the living room, even though there was rarely much living going on in it. Most of the time, it was off limits to those of us that wished to reside there. The gigantic high ceiling fan looked big enough to be a chapel. It was simply the most beautiful fan that I had ever seen. I was speechless, but could not believe my eyes. I didn't know carpet could be so thick, fluffy, and soft at the same time. The beautiful color coordinated pillows were perfectly placed on the sofa, and a lounge chair that must have been made in heaven appeared to be begging me to come test it out. I couldn't dare because I knew this elegant scene was off limits for me. Still, I couldn't help but stare at the breathtaking view. I placed one foot in the room and quickly pulled it back. Bad choice, I told myself. It looked like a foreign village. I forced my drooping eyes to take in the whole scene. Everyone was welcome in until the day I spilled my large strawberry smoothie on Mom's vanilla-colored plush carpet. Now it remains for the most part quiet, secluded, unoccupied, and says welcome to only the tall people in the house. That is until now. The whole family was asleep, dead asleep, not a sound, not even the usual noises sometimes made by a visiting owl or any night bird for that matter. Oh, I forgot. Almost everyone was asleep except my dog, Moses, who we affectionately call Pup. What's up, Pup? I don't know. Same old, I guess. Kinda bored. What are you doing in here? Asked Pup. I always knew you had a secret hiding place, but I would never have guessed in a million years that it was here, I said. Pup was clearly surprised. His eyes bulged, as if they were going to come out of his head. He looked like a deer caught in headlights. When are you guys going to get some more dog treats? Asked Pup. Moses looked annoyed. I was not sure if it was because I had awakened him or that I had stumbled upon his long-lasting secret. Is that all you care about? I asked while wiping my tired, bloodshot eyes. Day or night, rain, snow, sleet, or shine, that's all you think about. Your middle name should be Treat. I could read Pup's mind. He wanted to say, and your middle name should be Stingy. but he wouldn't dare take that chance for fear of living in a treatless world. Yes, I'm a dog. You know. Sorry, I don't. Sorry, pup, but don't worry. We will get you some treats. That's what you said yesterday. Lower your voice, pup. It will be awful if mom wakes up and catches us in here. Oh, you worry too much. It's no big deal. I like it in here. Anyway, what are you doing up this time of morning? It's 2 a.m. I flopped down on the beautiful sofa like I owned it and curled up with not one but two pillows. I can't sleep. Moses got up, walked closer, and plopped down in front of me. We were face to face. Can't sleep? What are you talking about? You snore louder than all of us put together. Got too many things on my mind right now, I said, stretching. I let out a yawn that almost vacuumed out the whole room. What's up, Chuck? Well, the school year is almost over, but I still feel empty, like something is missing. Come on, Chuck. You've had a great year. Not just a great year, I mean an awesome year. Sometimes when I'm just hanging around, trust me, I be listening. I even know that that's not standard grammar, just testing you. Anyway, I've heard about all the awards you have won, not just since you've been in elementary school, but just this whole year alone. What a year. This is him and Pup. Oh, you can't see. It was okay. What? What do you mean just okay? By any standards, you've had a year that any parent would be proud of. Well, I guess, but I don't feel that way. Why so down? There must be a reason. What's up, Chuck? By the way, how many awards did you win this year? Asked Moses. I don't know. I lost count. In a way, I don't even care. What do you mean you don't care? You wouldn't understand, Pup. You're a dog. So what? Us dogs are smarter than you think. Remember, we have what you all call instinct. It's more powerful than that book knowledge. Try me and see if I get it. All right, all right. It's like this. Imagine if I gave you all types of dog treats and goodies, but you are still eyeing the chicken drum leg on the table that no one seems to want. That drum leg has pup written all over it. Oh yeah, that treat. The treats are good, but you just don't feel satisfied until you can wrap your tongue around that succulent, sweet-smelling drum leg. Now do you get the picture? I'm not sure, but I can say you're definitely making me hungry. I leaned back on the sofa in an attempt to get comfortable. Don't get me wrong. I am proud of my accomplishments this year. However, there's just one more award I wish I had. Pup's ears stood up. What is it? What is it? I'm curious to know. What is it, Chuck? You remember all the awards you won this year? Well, honestly, I lost count. Pup walked over to his water bowl, took a swig, and came back to his spot. Oh, come on, give it a shot. He curled up and gazed upward, attentive as could be. Well, at the beginning of the year, I won Student of the Month. You won it for the first month, Chuck. Yeah, I guess you can say that. I could feel a smile trying to cover my drained face. What do you mean? Either you won it or you didn't. Okay. I won it for the first month of the school year. Pup stood up. What a guy, he said. Are you telling me you were the first one out of all the students to win it in your class for the year? Definitely. In fact, I won that award 4 times. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for you, but is that fair? I mean, what about the other poor kids? Looking downward, I gazed into Pup's eyes. I knew that he was trying to be considerate, but I felt like he was turning on me. Whose side are you on? Yours, but let's face it, there are only 10 months in a school year. Hey, it was no big deal. I'm serious. To me it is, and I'm a dog. Imagine how mom and dad feel. A smirk came across Pup's face as if he was anticipating what I was going to say. Pup, you've got to stop calling them mom and dad. After all, you are a dog. What's the big deal, Chuck? They take care of me just like they take care of you. I don't care. Call them what you want to. Besides, nobody will ever believe it anyway if I told them you talk to me when nobody else is around. Well, would you rather I call you Chup or Luck? Asked Pup. I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. I've got bigger fish to fry. What? I don't even like fish, said Pup. It's just a figure of speech, that's all. You can call me Chup or Luck or even Duck. I could care less. Like I said, do what you want to. I've got to go. There's something I've got to figure out and figure out fast. Time is running out. I keep telling you, Chup, I can help. Have a seat, Chup. Let's talk. Okay, now what's bothering you? Boy, this chair is comfy. I thought Dad told you not to sit in it, said Pup. He did, but only you and I know I'm sitting on it. I'm going to tell. Well, if you do, I promise to never give you another bone for the rest of the month. Just kidding. With you, Chuck, lighten up. I never would have thought you would sell me out like that, Pup. I wouldn't, you know that. What's the problem, Chuck? I rubbed my eyes, even though I could barely keep them open. I've won every award there is to win this year, but I still haven't. You won every award there is to win this year, said Pup, cutting me off. You didn't let me finish. I said, after another long yawn, sorry, Chuck. Like I was saying, I've won every award except Silent Lunch. Pup sprang to his feet. It looked like he jumped 3 feet off the ground. Silent Lunch? What's Silent Lunch? Pup screeched. Keep your voice down, I demanded. Pup, what's up? I said, startled by his action. Well, since you asked, I guess, I have to tell you, no matter how strange this all may sound, silent lunch is usually given as a form of discipline when a student does something improper, you know? You know what I mean. In other words, not following class rules, I said. Hold up, wait a minute. Are you telling me, number one, we're talking at 3 o'clock in the morning, and number two, you are disappointed because you've never had silent lunch? That's right. Never in my whole life. I just want to experience everything about elementary school at least once. I've heard of weird things, but this takes the cake, said Pup. There was a rattling. What was that? Said Pup. It sounded like a light switch. Lay down quickly, Pup. Act like you're asleep. I don't have to act any special way. I'm a dog. I go to sleep and wake up at all times of day and night. I'm a dog, remember? Yeah, that's right. Shh, don't say another word. I hear footsteps. I quickly stretched out on the couch, sort of like a rag doll to make it look good. Craig! I knew I was dead. I heard some noise, almost like someone talking. I thought the television had been left on. Mom began shaking my arm gently. Craig, she said, raising her voice, I know you're not asleep because I heard noises in here and the television was off. Trying to give my best acting job, I began to turn over and then I looked up towards her. Oh, Mom, don't oh, Mom me. You know what time it is. What are you doing in this room? I can't believe you are sleeping on the couch. And why are you still awake? She said with a mixture of anger and concern. I can't sleep. I got up because I knew Pup would be the only one to understand. You mean the only one awake, don't you? She responded. It's 3:15. Go to bed. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That will be too late. I can't keep putting it off. I promise we will discuss it as soon as you come home from school. Besides, you're going to be too tired to talk about anything in the morning. I'm going to come up with a plan, I muttered to Pup. Pup didn't even look at me. Thanks a lot, Pup, I thought to myself. What did you say something about a plan? Nah, no. Just talking to avoid sleep, I guess. I rubbed my eyes and lifted myself off of the couch and headed to my room. Get some sleep. I'll try to let you sleep about 30 extra minutes in the morning. Good night, Mom. Love you. Good night, CJ. The next day at school. Plan A. It was now or never. No turning back. After getting off the bus, I, along with what looked like and felt like 100 students, dragged myself off the bus ramp. Groggily, I walked down the hall and headed to class. It was one of those mornings that I could hardly recall anything. In fact, I didn't even remember getting on the bus. As I moved down the hall, finally I found myself making the final turn. There he was, the principal of Hillside Elementary School, Dr. Johnson. He liked it when the kids called him Dr. J. Rumor has it that he admired the nickname because it reminded him of his childhood basketball hero, Julius Erving. He was a former professional basketball player who had made the dunk famous. He was the best back in the day, if you know what I mean. Good morning, Craig, said Dr. Johnson in that booming voice. You could feel the hallways vibrate when he opened his mouth. Good morning, Dr. J, I responded. I kept my head slightly angled downward because I would not dare look at him. No eye contact needed today. Is everything all right, Craig, he asked. Certainly, I quickly responded. Please talk to the other students, I said to myself. You look tired, he blurted out, loud enough for all the hall to hear. I was temporarily wide awake. Lifting my head, I glared at him. I was mad, but I sure didn't want him to get madder. Oh no, not at all, I finally responded as I darted away and through the crowd. Have a great day, his voice rumbled through the crowded hall. Wake up! Finally, I was at the door to my 5th grade class. Good morning, Craig. It's so great to see you this morning. I kept my head down. Good morning, Mrs. Midget. Good morning, Craig, she repeated. Didn't she hear me? You've got to talk louder than that when you get to middle school, she said. Her words sounded sarcastic, but I knew she said them out of concern. Anyway, who cares about middle school? I'm in elementary school, I said under my breath. Good morning, Mrs. Midget, I said for a second time. That's much better. Look up when someone is talking to you. I reluctantly lifted my head. Oh my God, why are your eyes so red? Said Mrs. Midget. I was hoping she wouldn't expose me so fast. Don't know. Think something got in them. Maybe some dust or something. Probably pollen. My mom said the pollen has been bad this week. I feel okay though. Well, you sure don't. Mrs. Midget stopped suddenly. I think she caught herself because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. You've got to get your rest. Don't stay up so late. Who told her I stayed up late? I thought to myself. Okay, Mrs. Midget, I replied. Morning announcement. The students arose from their seats and in unison began. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Everyone stood except me. My head was still on the desk, on top of my unfinished morning work. Craig, please stand with the rest of the class. Daquan, wake up. Craig, said an angry Mrs. Midget. I felt a hand on my shoulder. I quickly glanced around, then jumped to my feet. The whole class was looking at me. No one was paying attention to the Pledge of Allegiance coming over the intercom system. What did I do? I shouted while wiping my strawberry-looking eyes. Stand, she said, with the menacing scowl that spread across her entire face. It looked like smoke was coming from her head. After the morning announcements, I quickly glanced around. Everyone take out your homework and quietly review it because you will see similar problems on the benchmark test, said Mrs. Midget. Some of the students looked confused. Carmen raised her hand. Are we going to switch classes this morning? Are we going to Mr. Hogue's class? She said. Mr. Hogue teaches social studies and reading, said Mrs. Midget. And I teach math, science, and writing. No, we don't change classes today. We have to take our math benchmark test today. We take part 1. We take part 1 today and part 2 on tomorrow. Okay, well, I can stop there since it's getting a little late.
Yeah, it's a good book. I was following along and want to just a little past our time. So can you mark it for us so you can come back?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, I have dog-eared the page.
So what called you? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Starr.
No, go ahead, Rodney.
No, I was going to say you mentioned that a friend of yours wrote the book. What was the other motivation for you selecting that book?
Well, like I said, it was my dad's friend. He and his wife, they were volunteer tutors and also ministers at the church where I grew up. So I actually hadn't read this book before. I read maybe I had planned on reading it yesterday, but I have a daughter who loves my attention and I love spending time with her. So I did not get a chance to read it. So I was actually, enjoying the book myself, enjoying reading it. And I'm excited to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, we are too. And are you from this area? Are you from the 757 Hampton Roads area?
I was born in Connecticut. A lot of my family is there. I used to spend most of my summers in Connecticut, the
Okay.
majority of my summers. But I've been in the Hampton Roads area since 1993. So I
Okay.
moved here in 93.
All right.
And like I said, every summer was Connecticut, but I came
Yeah.
back here for school.
Well, that's good. So you have to sign up and let us know when you can come back and
Oh, definitely.
complete.
I'll be back.
In the
See,
meantime,
I got comfortable. I'm all leaned in the couch now.
no, that's good. That's
It's
good.
close.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, we have all your entrepreneurial information that's up there
yes.
on Facebook. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you're going to be getting some connections about that.
Oh, excellent.
Yes,
Give me a
definitely.
call.
All of the myriad of things that you do, but drop those ones that you want us to know about. And again, that was a great story. And I'm sure it was exciting to explore a book written by someone you know so closely. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you
Great.
for sharing that with us. And I know I think you said the author has some other books as well, right?
Yes, they were more adult literature. So this is the only children's book that I know of. But it's been very interesting. And I was reading, like I said, I only got through a little bit of it reading to my daughter before she was just ready to go to bed. So yeah, she dozed off before I really got into the meat of the story.
And you said she's about to turn 1.
Yes, she will be
Awesome.
1 soon in a few days. So I'm having her Zoom birthday party this Sunday.
Okay, well, happy early birthday to her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming up here to read. We enjoyed
Oh,
this.
my pleasure.
I have to tell you, if you didn't know, that this is a literacy gang. We are our gang is built on the premise of literature, culture, community, and love. So once you come on here and read, you are a part of this literacy gang. You cannot escape this literature, this culture.
Words in and words out. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so anytime you want to come back, that sign up sheet, the link you have, just go on there and sign up. Also, for everybody tuned in, Villagers is pinned on the Clever Communities in Action Facebook page. So from here on out, anytime, just go on the page and it's pinned at the top. So if you want to, we're gonna update the slots tonight. And so if you guys want to read next week, just go on there and sign up. But you're welcome to come back anytime, sis. We'd love to have you back, okay?
All right. Thank you. My pleasure. You all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. And it's always indie authors enjoying, learning about all the various authors that we have out here. And the wonderful readers, and Javon had a great rhythm going on there, that cadence in her voice. So, we just have we could have listened to that forever and never had a nice bedtime story, but just, we have our constraints with the time, and sometimes that interferes with us hearing wonderful, wonderful stories. But that was
that I'll say, that's a little bit on us. We were celebrating with Mark and celebrating the announcement and the birthday and getting into the groove. So we kind of pushed it to the end. So we'll make sure that when she comes back, we'll have her at the beginning so she can finish reading that wonderful story.
Definitely that. So family, village, virtual village, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to all our village readers, to Mark coming tonight and sharing that wonderful news, to Javon for coming and reading that wonderful, excellent story, and to all of the villagers for your excitement that you have with us, for being there. Like I said, we have not put any announcements up about this. We personally have not posted it yet, because it's something that we wanted to share with the village first. So look out, it will be coming out. We will be doing some posts about it. So y'all share, get the word out. But we are expanding as a village, and we appreciate all the expansion that you guys have done. to help us grow, because every time somebody new is coming up here and it's coming from one of the villagers, and the village just grows. So thanks so much for the love. I'm excited for all of us. Rodney, did you have anything
No,
before we?
again, I mean, like I said, it's been a great night. I'm glad that we were able to bring Mark on. I want to thank him again for all the support that he's given to Clever Communities in Action, and we're going to take that opportunity to share some support to our young people, and do like we talked about, I think earlier in the week, prepare the next generation to step in our shoes and to take over, so that we make sure that the work that we do gets passed on and grows and benefits from the talent that we know that our young people will bring to the table. So I'm looking forward to that.
Same here. So, hey, that's a word. So we're gonna end with that. You all have well, tune in tomorrow. Y'all know, same time, same place. We are now on YouTube as well. So if you have not liked, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, make sure that you go to Clever Communities in Action YouTube channel and go over there and subscribe to that. And if you have not yet liked Clever Communities in Action on Facebook, then make sure that you like the page. And also, if you haven't been to our website yet, then go to clevercommunities.org and check us out over there. Learn some more about the organization and the work that we're doing, that we've been doing. But thanks again so much for tuning in. And we will see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook or YouTube. So y'all have a wonderful night.
Good night.